Dorian Gray, the eponymous protagonist of Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, is one of literature's most enigmatic and disturbing characters. This figure transitions from innocent beauty to moral ruin. As the subject of Basil Hallward's portrait and the object of Lord Henry Wotton's philosophical influence, Dorian becomes a living experiment in aestheticism, hedonism, and the denial of moral consequence. His character is not only central to the novel's plot, but also to Wilde's exploration of identity, morality, and the conflict between outer beauty and inner corruption. Dorian Gray is at once a cautionary figure, a symbol, and a tragic reflection of a society obsessed with appearances. Narrative role. Dorian Gray begins the novel as a young, handsome, and impressionable gentleman, charming but naive. He is introduced to readers through the eyes of Basil Hallward, who has grown enamored with Dorian's physical beauty and inner purity. However, when Dorian meets Lord Henry Wotton, his worldview undergoes a dramatic shift. Lord Henry's cynical, seductive ideas, especially the claim that youth and beauty are the only things worth having, plant the seeds of narcissism and fear of aging in Dorian's mind. Shortly after hearing Lord Henry's views, Dorian makes a Faustian wish that he might remain forever young while his portrait ages in his place. This wish is mysteriously granted. From this moment on, the narrative follows Dorian's descent into a life of pleasure-seeking, cruelty, and amorality. While his outward appearance remains unchanged, the portrait begins to reveal the true state of his soul, first with a subtle sneer, and later with monstrous distortions reflecting his growing depravity. Dorian's role in the narrative is that of both protagonist and moral battleground. Through his actions, Wilde explores the limits of aestheticism and the dangers of separating beauty from ethics. His relationships with Basil, Sybil Vane, and eventually his self deteriorate as he becomes increasingly consumed by vanity, self-interest, and a refusal to acknowledge guilt. The novel ends with Dorian attempting to destroy the portrait in a final act of denial and desperation, only to die himself, his true age and corruption suddenly made visible on his own body. Symbolic significance. Dorian Gray functions as a powerful symbol of the dual nature of humanity. On the surface, he is the embodiment of physical perfection, charming, graceful, eternally youthful. But beneath that flawless exterior lies a soul increasingly disfigured by sin, cruelty, and hypocrisy. The portrait serves as a supernatural mirror, revealing the truth that Dorian himself refuses to confront. This duality represents the broader theme of appearance versus reality, a central concern of Wilde's. Dorian becomes a symbol of the dangers of prioritizing appearances over substance. He is celebrated by society despite his hidden transgressions, revealing the superficiality and moral blindness of the social world around him. By maintaining the illusion of beauty and respectability, Dorian is able to manipulate and deceive not only others, but also himself. Dorian is also symbolic of the Faust myth. Like Faust, he trades his soul for earthly pleasures and knowledge, but unlike Faust, he does not make a pact with the devil. Instead, his corruption is internal, driven by personal choices influenced by Lord Henry's worldview. Wilde's version of the Faust story is more psychological than spiritual. Dorian's downfall is not due to demonic intervention, but to his vanity and refusal to accept responsibility. Furthermore, Dorian can be seen as the embodiment of Wilde's critique of the aesthetic movement. While the movement promoted art for art's sake and the pursuit of beauty as an ideal, Wilde uses Dorian to question the sustainability of that philosophy when detached from moral accountability. Dorian lives a life of aesthetic indulgence, but the consequences, captured in the grotesque portrait, expose the emptiness and horror beneath the surface. One of the most compelling aspects of Dorian Gray is his moral ambiguity. While he becomes increasingly selfish and destructive, he is not entirely devoid of conscience. Throughout the novel, Dorian experiences moments of guilt and doubt. He is haunted by the portrait, which serves as a constant reminder of his sins. After the death of Sybil Vane, he feels remorse, briefly. He even considers reforming at various points, such as when he refrains from corrupting a young village girl. Yet these moments are fleeting, undermined by his vanity and fear of losing his unblemished image. Broader implications. Dorian Gray's character also functions as a broader commentary on Victorian society. Wilde exposes a culture obsessed with decorum, surface appearances, and social reputation, one in which true morality is often ignored in favor of polite facades. Dorian's ability to maintain a spotless public image while committing private atrocities reflects the hypocrisy and repression of the era. Moreover, Dorian's life illustrates the dangers of influence and manipulation. His fate is shaped not only by his desires, but by the powerful influence of Lord Henry, who treats Dorian more as a philosophical experiment than as a human being. This dynamic raises questions about free will, responsibility, and the ethical obligations of those who shape others' lives through ideas and persuasion. In a broader philosophical sense, Dorian represents the human desire for eternal youth and perfection, a theme that resonates across time and cultures. His downfall suggests that such desires, when pursued without regard to morality or consequence, are ultimately destructive. Wilde uses Dorian to question the cost of worshiping beauty and pleasure above all else, a theme that remains strikingly relevant in today's image-driven culture. Conclusion. Dorian Gray is not merely a cautionary tale about vanity and corruption. He is a deeply symbolic and psychologically rich character through whom Wilde explores the conflicts of identity, the cost of aestheticism, and the dangers of denying moral truth. As the novel's central figure, Dorian's journey from innocence to depravity mirrors the consequences of separating outer beauty from inner virtue. By the novel's end, Dorian's final act of destroying the portrait, thinking it will free him, results in his death, revealing that one cannot escape the self or the consequences of one's actions. His beauty preserved only in death, Dorian Gray stands as a tragic symbol of a life spent pursuing the wrong ideals. In the picture of Dorian Gray, Wilde crafts a timeless meditation on the soul, the self, and the shadows we hide behind our public faces. Dorian Gray, both as character and cautionary symbol, remains one of the most enduring creations in English literature, a haunting reflection of the price we pay when we trade truth for illusion.